Hello, how's everyone doing? I hope y'all are good. Okay, so today I just want to talk about the stuff that I got called Binchotan. And basically, what you have there is a stick. I think that might be willow that was turned into carbon. And it's not as simple as it sounds. Binchotan is a specific type of charcoal, as this would be a type of charcoal, I guess you could say. But it's produced at extremely high temperatures, and there are some other differences in the techniques that Binchotan is made compared to your ordinary charcoal. Well, apparently, the advantage to Binchotan is that through the by creating this type of charcoal, you create a more absorbent type of charcoal. It has a larger surface area or something. I don't know. It has smaller pores. Anyway, it's able to absorb more. That is the logic behind it. And basically, in olden days, this was used to purify water. And so I just tied a bit of string to it there, and I've just left it sitting in my water. I've actually tried this before. And what happens is the charcoal absorbs the chemicals such as chlorine, I think fluorine as well, I'm not too sure. But it absorbs chemicals like chlorine and the other types of chemicals that are used to sterilize the water. Here in England, the water is notoriously hard because of all these processes they have to put it through to make sure that it is safe to drink. Obviously, you can drink tap water, and it is safe to do so. The only problem is most people find it very hard. It's not so pleasant to drink. And so, what you probably have in your house is like a Brita filter or some other type of water filter. Now, that's going to use activated charcoal. Binchotan is basically a form of activated charcoal. So, your any type of water filter that you have in your house that you're trying to get that hard taste out of the water from, that probably has an activated charcoal filter that by gravity is what the water goes through, and then you pour it out from the bottom sort of vessel. Now, this is sort of the same sort of principle, only that the water is not gravitationally filtering through the activated charcoal. You just simply sit it in the vessel of water, and because it is so absorbent, it is able to absorb the all the heavier stuff in your water, like the chlorine and whatnot. So it follows the same convention, uh, but I just thought it was kind of cooler. And as I was going through my sort of non-plastic phase, I wanted something where I could, this is a nice glass carafe. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but this is nice, and this is glass, and I have my clean canteen, which is all non-plastic and stuff. And so I was kind of just looking at a way of where I could filter my water the same way as a Brita filter would, but obviously those are plastic. So I just wanted something more purer. And maybe, I am a sucker for tradition and the older ways. And I just thought this was I was, mind my language, but I thought this was just pretty cool. So, yeah, I went ahead and I've tried this before. Now, I will say that this method, using Binchotan to filter your water, it basically you just let it sit in there, like so. They recommend you do so for like, I don't know, I think it's like a really long time, like overnight or something. I would not recommend you do that. Yes, if you left it sitting in the water overnight, it would pretty much absorb everything that's in the water. Now, the problem with that is, I found that when I first started using Binchotan, that if you leave your Binchotan in there, it is so effective in absorbing the chlorine that the water will become rife with bacteria. Hence why, chlorine is in your water, is to prevent that from happening. But because this is so effective in removing chlorine, in absorbing all the chlorine, you'll find um, that your water will taste like bacteria water. Literally, it would taste and smell like stagnant lake water. Okay, so be aware of that. It is extremely effective in removing chlorine, so much so that in a way your water is no longer safe to drink. So what I would recommend is that you do not let it sit in your water for more than an hour. I would even say let it sit for like half an hour, because after that time, yes, there might still be residual amounts of chlorine left, but you won't be able to taste it. It's the taste that one is trying to accomplish here. Where that's the reason why you have that Brita filter, is just to give it a cleaner taste. You don't need to know that there is literally 1 parts per 100,000 parts to water of chlorine to water ratio, in terms of how much is left. You cannot taste beyond a certain amount anyway, and therefore it is, pointless in trying to remove 100% of the chlorine, especially if it actually is dangerous. I mean, I remember when I did that, the water smelled and tasted like rotten. So that was a bacteria being able to propagate because there was no inhibiting factors such as the chemicals that are used to suppress bacterial growth in water. So just take that in mind. It's very effective in making your water taste better. So it's been sitting in there for about 5 to 10, well, about 10 minutes now. And let me just have a taste actually. I'm sure already the water will taste less hard, but I don't think it's been sitting long enough. But let's have a little taste. Yeah, that kind of still tastes like hard water. Yeah, you can still taste the chlorine in that. So I'm gonna leave but it certainly tastes, well, it tastes a little bit better, maybe marginally better than straight out of the tap. I'm gonna leave it for another few minutes, another 20 minutes, because I like to work. Yeah, I like to work to around the half-hour kind of point, maybe an hour, maybe, depending on how hard your water is, I guess. But anyway, yeah, this is just a nice non-plastic way of doing the same thing. Now I've got this carafe off a website that I'll post in the description. It's really good because you have your cup on top of it. It's 100% glass. The cup also keeps all dust and anything particles going into the water. It's nice to just have this sort of thing in your kitchen, or next to your bed, on your bedside table or something. You have some water to drink. Just be aware that there will be some work involved, in the sense that you would have to get it filtered half an hour, at least half an hour before you want to drink the water, and don't take it out, don't leave it in there. Also, the Binchotan, they say, is you are able to use it for about 3 months, I believe, or 6 months, and then after that, what you do is you boil it, and in the boiling process, you release all the pores and all the chlorine that it's been absorbing, and all the other chemicals it's been absorbing, and then you pour that water out, and maybe you repeat the process, I don't know, and then you can reuse the Binchotan for a further 3 to 6 months. And once it's completely used, after about 6 months to a year, then you just basically just grind it up and throw it in your garden. Because carbon is quite useful to gardens. I think it has something to do with the pH level of the soil. It changes that. I think it makes it more alkaline, I believe. I think I know if you put wood ash around your garden, that'll make it more alkaline. I think carbon does the same, and it also makes the soil more moisture retentive or something, or less moisture retentive. Anyway, I can't remember. It does have some benefits to the soil depending on what you're growing in the soil. Some plants will like it better than others. So yeah, I mean, it has various. I mean, all the way through its use, it's useful, and it's basically biodegradable. So it's pretty good for the environment, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, that's just my little carafe with my Binchotan in it. I just